Welcome, everyone. I'm Rachel Green, Digital Communications Specialist here at McNaughton-McKay Electric Company. Thank you for joining us here on our monthly Mac and Mac Live panel discussion, the Industry Expert Exchange. Every month, a panel of specialists from across our 5 regions cover a new topic, exploring the latest and greatest technology, developments, and challenges in that focus area. We host these live streams once a month on Thursdays at noon Eastern, so you can join us on your lunch break, or you can always watch the recording afterward. As you join, say hello to us in the comment section. Let us know where you're joining from today. I'll have my eye on the comments as we go along. So feel free to ask questions in the comments at any time throughout the session. There's no need to wait for a Q&A portion at the end. We will answer your questions in real time. Now, if you have a question, we can't get to it today, or if you're watching this as a recording, you can always reach out to us at macandmaclive@mc-mc.com. The email address is in the description of this video, and I'll repeat it again at the end of our discussion today. This month's topic is construction project management. And before we jump in, let's take a minute to meet our panelists with us here today. I'm going to ask you all to introduce yourselves. We'll go around the screen. If you can just give us your name, your area of expertise, and where you're joining us from today. Let's go ahead and start with Joel.
Joel Ihrig, Southeastern Construction Sales Manager for the Detroit market and Ann Arbor. Currently sitting in Ann Arbor at the moment.
Excellent. Jeremy, you want to go next?
Sure. Jeremy Diver. I'm the construction sales manager for Northwest Ohio. So I have Findlay, Defiance, and Maumee branches, and I'm currently in Maumee.
Excellent. Jake?
Hey, I'm Jake Barnes with the Georgia region. I am our power group supervisor, covering all of our Georgia locations except for Savannah. My group handles all of our power distribution equipment.
Awesome. Will, you want to go next?
Hey everybody, I'm Will Parker, the project manager for the coastal region with power controls on the solutions group, and I am in Wilmington, North Carolina.
And last but not least, Josh.
Hi everybody, I'm Josh Bloom. I'm currently in our Greenville office. I am the solutions architect manager for our Carolinas and coastal area.
Awesome. Well, let's go ahead and jump into today's topic. We'll kick off with a pretty broad question here. Jake, I'm going to have you just kind of start this discussion for us. What is construction project management as it relates to electrical distribution as a channel?
Yeah, so as our customers engage us for project business, their expectations are is that we're able to help them understand not only what they've ordered from us, but where it's at in the manufacturing and engineering design process, all the way through to what equipment they're going to need to manage it at site and what sort of resources they're going to need to install it and turn it on correctly. That's a really high level view of it, but it is a pretty broad range topic. So customers look to distributors to manage it from the conceptual level all the way through project delivery, understanding every stage of the project.
Great. Does anyone else want to add to that, or did he pretty much cover it with that?
I think that was pretty much covered.
I think you did a good job.
We'll move on to our next question. Jeremy, if you want to kick this discussion off for us, when we talk about construction, are we referring only to residential, commercial, or industrial construction, or all of the above?
At least for my locations, it's all of the above. I not a ton of residential business, but there's definitely some. And we work with a few contractors that get into multi-unit dwellings and apartment builds and, even some standalone homes. And then you've got the light commercial and industrial that the majority of our contractors are very heavy in. I don't know how it is in other locations though. So Joel, do you much resi?
Not too much resi. I'd say resi up here in the Detroit and Ann Arbor markets around 15% of our business roughly. Similar to your point, with like hotels and things of that nature, that's typically what we view as residential in our market.
Yeah.
Not too many homes. We'll get a couple contractors that will come in looking for some smaller onesie-twosie items to just do service calls. But for the most part, that's we're heavy in the commercial side up here. Yeah. Especially with the automotive, the big three.
Yeah, of course. we have a particular contractor that has multiple home builders that he does their electric install for. So he's exclusively residential. That
Mhm.
ups some of that business for my overall mix coming out of Findlay. But other than that, it's majority industrial and commercial.
We used to get kind of lucky up here every now and then. We had Toll Brothers and Pulte that used to, have big projects, and a lot of the contractors would nab those up and run big subdivisions and things of that nature. But supply chain issues and other things like that have slowed down a lot of those builds.
No doubt.
How about in some of our southern regions? Is that also the case, kind of a mix of all of them?
Yeah, here in Georgia, we are almost no residential and very little commercial. We're heavy on the industrial side, so industrial construction as well as major projects with end user industrial customers. But we see next to nothing on the residential side. There's just it's not the market that we've spent our time focusing on.
The same is true with the Carolinas and coastal, and we have a few commercial opportunities here and there. Pretty much zero residential, mostly industrial.
I think too, just to kind of build on that industrial, seeing that we're all kind of in the same play, it is a little bit harder for us to compete against the brick and mortars when it comes to that. We're able to supply it on a larger scale to the commercial contractors.
Yeah, the box store takes pretty good care of the resi guys.
They sure do.
Jeremy, the residential contractors you do have, how do they differ in the project management needs from your larger commercial and certainly on the industrial scale projects?
So, what you end up getting is you'll get a whole order for a house, and there's the rough portion of that, right? Where they need to just rough in and pull wire, set the tub for the load center, that type of thing. And then there's the finished portion. So we will palletize and deliver the rough separate from the finish at, specified lead time or specified dates that they request that material to be on location.
We've also done things too when we do other similar to that, even organizing it by floor, to make sure that, we're taking care of their project needs, so they're not having to worry about delivery times, executing on, installing the product. We kind of take that off their plate.
Yeah, even up to pre-cut lengths of Romex that are labeled, so it's very easy to pull.
Absolutely.
It's almost creating like a kit approach.
Correct.
Anything we can do to save the contractor time and money, it definitely sets us up for success.
And yeah, I think that's the value proposition that we offer in those spaces, especially where we may not be top of mind for the segment. The value add that we can offer by doing the kitting or any of those details in the project management space is what allows us to do that business.
Agreed.
Joel, you had touched on supply chain issues. So if you want to take this next question, I'm sure everyone has something to weigh in here. But how is the supply chain challenges impacting the construction space right now? That's a topic.
Yeah, it's just like everything else, with COVID that took place, it's a lot harder to get things, particularly gear for the most part is a hard one to obtain, which I'm sure Jake could touch on that as well, dealing in his world there. But we're getting contractors, though, that are trying to be as proactive as they can. They're taking these lead times into consideration and trying to do a lot of proactive buys. And so they're ultimately bundling conduit, wire, lighting, some gear opportunities to try to position themselves to execute a project and to finish it on time. Problem is, though, if we're delaying something on a project, sometimes other trades can't get things done, like the plumbing and the mechanical. So it can be a domino effect. We haven't had much business stripped from us, because of that, but it's a hot button for a lot of contractors on a consistent basis.
Yeah, you're right. The gear situation right now is rough. What we're between all of the issues getting electronic boards in for things like circuit breakers and then intelligent devices, plus the fact that demand has just gone through the roof in places like utility construction. It's kind of created this perfect storm that, lead times are going way out. Project managers are having to, I think probably one of the best things I've seen is project managers are really having to educate their customers and sometimes their customer's customer to help understand that, because it's certainly something, if it only flows from us to our customer level, it's difficult for that message to really reach where it needs to go.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
It's made our
I would
customers
say
better
too,
planners.
What's that?
It's made our customers better planners.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's to that point, it's also them being better planners and piling on multiple jobs that might go year, 2, 3 years out. I mean, even though they're being proactive, they're still at the same time creating more of a backlog on the suppliers chain. So
Correct.
That leads us to our next question. Will, I think you were about to say something, so I'll direct this to you. How are power and construction project managers finding success despite these supply chain issues?
Yeah, so I would say, as project managers here in the coastal region, when we work with power control panels, the main thing we're focused on is, making sure all the components align with the supply chain. It's beneficial for us to be able to select which components based on what we know in their lead times, how to better keep that project in motion, how to get the panel build continuously going to where everything stays on track, how to recommend different part numbers and different parts that are going to be associated with that panel build to get things out on time as well. So it kind of helps when we understand the lead times that are associated with it, each individual piece that goes into it to deliver the customer finished product that's going to be as close to on time as we can get it. And like everybody was just touching on, pretty much these lead times are continuing to go out, and I think we realize that on the solutions end as well. And we're making those recommendations to the customer so that they can be on top of these projects as well when they present it to theirs.
Agreed. Will, Jake, and Jeremy, I don't know about you guys, but up here, I'd say comfortably over this last year, I've seen more customers request us short shipping things or just to kind of get stuff rolling, and whether just to have something mounted and wait on breakers or anything else, it's they're willing to get their hands on anything.
Yeah. Very
Right
much.
now, my
That's
encouragement
consistent here as
to a
well.
customer, if the manufacturer offers you a ship date, take it. Don't allow anything to be, to be complete. We can put the spinning rims on later. We'll get the chassis in right now.
And I might use that one, both analogies right there.
That plays well in your market, Joel.
I didn't want to throw out the Detroit thing, but you got me.
Yeah.
Are there any other things that customers can do to try to get ahead of some of these long lead times?
I'm seeing a lot of the customers we work with are really starting to have better conversations with the design and specification engineering firms. That's probably one of the I'd say the most productive conversations you can have right now, either as a project manager or a contractor, because as you engage those of us in the supply channel with the design engineers, we kind of get to do like Will was talking about a moment ago, and back into a solution based on what product's more available versus designing based on just the technical need and finding out later, oh no, we've specified a breaker or lighting design or whatever the case may be that's going to be really difficult to support with the project schedule. So I spend a lot of my time these days talking to customers about not just the technical design, but the project timeline as well. Whereas, pre-supply chain issues, those conversations were all about meeting the technical design because it wasn't a concern whether or not we could hit the lead time. So the conversations that I see most beneficial are, really impacting project managers with the design side of a project. And the earlier you have that conversation, the more beneficial it is.
I don't know if everybody else is seeing it too, but I'm seeing customers, they'll come to you with maybe a particular part number, but all of a sudden they're like, just whatever you can get that's equal will work as well. So they're becoming more flexible on what
Absolutely.
you're actually providing them.
Absolutely.
I think it's a unique value. One of the, things with the, the heavy presence of engineers at McNaughton-McKay, the ability to bring that flexibility to customers without impacting their overall specification, because, a lot of our customers have worked really hard to have sometimes an international specification for products, and they're trying to figure out, how do I maintain this safety spec or a reliability specification while at the same time meeting current project needs. And that's something I've seen our specialists and engineering teams get engaged with to the customer's benefit, is being able to have the discussion around, hey, here is an alternate that doesn't negatively impact your overall safety standard or your overall spec. Kind of going back to one of the core values, that we bring to our customers is the ability to have really high level technical conversations.
Yeah, I'd second that, Jake, and I'd say, that's something that we've seen success specifically here in the Coastal and the Solutions Group, as well as being able to have those conversations with our customers early on, and say, here's our recommendations for what we pieced together and what you're going to receive. How can we change it to meet your specification that you're going to put it online with? And it's been really beneficial on both ends, I'd say, in our group.
And really, I would add too, it's really not new for McNaughton-McKay to do these things. It's what's new about it is the supply chain craziness. But we've always, asked the customer, encouraged the customer to involve us early on, so that we can help them really get the right products and the right services to complete the job, and in the best way possible, whatever that means. Now, we're doing that still, but we're doing it also with the mindset of what's available and what's going to be available. So I guess in a way, we've got a lot of experience with this, even though it was maybe for other reasons than supply chain.
And I think we mentioned just a little bit earlier about kind of palletizing some of the things for the rough ends that Jeremy was talking about. Do we offer stage and store opportunities that could help customers that are dealing with the long lead times for certain things, but can get other things at certain times?
Yeah, it's prevalent here. And I know it's prevalent in Joel's territory as well. Guys will do, like he was talking about, pre-buys at the beginning of a project, and that material will be in, but they don't need it for months. And a lot of that has to do with price increases and different things that we've seen along with the supply chain issues. So we'll bring that in, palletize those items, label for, different shipments headed out to the job site, and store that material for them until they're ready for it on site. But it does, protect inflationary costs as the project goes on.
Mhm.
Yep, the stage and store piece, it helps them with cost certainty as well.
Mhm.
I
But
know
we're very
pricing.
heavily involved in Madison Heights, especially, and along with, the Kniff acquisition, we've done a lot of good things with utilizing both spaces to be able to accommodate as many projects as we possibly can. To Jeremy's point, a unique part number scheme, job names, anything that we can do to help a light fixture or a piece of gear wind up on a floor, and the guy that sees it knows exactly where it needs to be installed and who it goes to.
That's great. You'd mentioned pricing volatility. Is there anything, I think maybe in the northern regions, that we're doing to try to mitigate some of that for our customers? Any contracts that we're working on to try to level out those pricing?
Yes, up here, especially in the Detroit market, we're kind of like a lot of the guys touched on, actively reaching out to our contractors, poking them to see if they could provide us on upcoming projects, potential bills of material, to where we can lock in steel and copper contracts to hopefully, protect them for the duration of the project.
Yeah, again, cost certainty, like Joel mentioned before.
We've seen that on power distribution equipment as well, where even to some point, sometimes the customer has not completed their engineer design, but is able to get close enough with the equipment. They're able to get ahead of price increases from manufacturers. Sometimes having a 95% design, the 5% change later is far less impactful to their overall project budget than the 10 to 15% list price increase that the manufacturer is pushing out the door. So being, again, open conversations with the customer about where things are at is the critical part to making sure they're aware when they should buy and how much of it they should buy.
We do actually have a question in the comment section here. I want to go ahead and read it out for you guys. Make sure I'm reading this correctly. How can you convince a customer at a specific design? So I guess maybe influencing them to go in a certain direction with a design. Is that something we have experience with, I guess, working more with these designers early on in the projects?
I think that Josh and those guys kind of touched on, I think it was more so it's helping to put things in perspective for the customer.
You lay out the
and we
options.
can, I think, Josh, if you want to answer it too, I mean, I was just going to second, that and say pretty much, we can help throughout the beginning of the design process as well. That's something we do in the solutions group. So we actually can take, as far as controls are related and panels, we can help the customer determine not only which components are going to be available, but also, sizing components. And we do a lot of configuration of these panels and assisting the customer with those. And we can be completely transparent with the lead times that are going to be associated with each component and recommending different components that may be quicker and like Jake said, meet the specification that they need as well.
Josh, did you have something to add?
I was just going to add that, along those lines, it really comes down to sharing the information with the customer and making them aware of the trade-offs that they're looking at. You have a specific design that involves a specific hardware set, and there might be an alternative way to do that. There will be a trade-off. That's why, multiple products exist. They do different things, or they accomplish the same thing in different ways. So I think part of our job is to kind of lay those options out and give the customer, empower the customer to make the best decision based on their, is lead time the ultimate thing, or is cost the ultimate part, or is the specific design the ultimate driver? And in whichever case, we're there to kind of help them understand what that looks like.
And then McNaughton-McKay, doing those types of proactive conversations, helps us make our customer look good to their customer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we've been really blessed with what I'll call, true customer partners. And I've noticed this beyond just the Georgia region, but customers who have us in a trusted advisor role. We've proven it over time that the solutions we recommend. So I think that's probably one of the biggest things that impacts a customer's willingness to change products is our track record of bringing a solution that is going to meet their technical needs as well as their budget needs. In the long term run of their manufacturing facility.
I know we've touched on a lot of different ways that we support construction project managers, but as a last question here, Josh, if you want to take this one for us, how does McNaughton-McKay support or augment the capabilities and skill sets of project managers and contractors? I know we've talked about a bunch, but are there more ways?
I think just to, kind of summarize that, really the value is that we have a lot of expertise, obviously, within the electrical space that a general project manager may not have, or maybe they have it, they don't have time to really dig into the detail. We do that, and that's how we augment those groups. They come to us with an outcome that they're looking to achieve, and it's our job to offer them the products and services that are going to get them there the best way possible. So it's a teamwork approach, and we have our place, and we try to do the best that we can to deliver, the best result possible.
Well said.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, I think that is about it for our discussion here today. I want to thank you all of our panelists, Jake, Will, Josh, Joel, and Jeremy. You've given us a lot of tips on how to mitigate supply chain issues and how McNaughton-McKay can support our construction partners. Also, a big thank you to everyone watching. We hope this session was informative and engaging for you. If we didn't get to your question today, or if you're watching this as a recording and you have questions for us, please feel free to reach out to us at the email address in the description below, macamaclive@mc-nc.com. If you haven't already, please subscribe to our McNaughton-McKay YouTube channel for more industry content like this. And we will see you all live again next month for our next Industry Expert Exchange session. Thank you everyone for coming and have a great day.